What is going on, guys? Crucible here, and today I wanted to do just something a little bit different. I said I was going to do this last week, but I never really got around to doing it. So I want to do it now and kind of just talk about it now. So there's a lot of people that are talking about ban lists. There's a lot of people talking about like what they think should happen, and I'm going to do something a little bit different than what everybody else is doing. I'm honestly, like, as much as I want a ban list too, like, I feel like it's a little redundant for me to kind of give my 2 cents on what I want from a ban list when I'm kind of in conjunction with everybody else and in terms of what they want. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss the World Finals. I want to talk about like the event itself, like the live streams and how they ended up handling it and my personal thoughts on it. Just kind of like talking about things that I would like to see improved going into next year's World Finals and just kind of stuff like that. Because the fact of the matter for me is that I had a lot of fun watching the live streams, but then it kind of got a little redundant towards the end. And so I just want to, like, again, I want to focus my thoughts on it a little bit. So if you want to see more like discussion and like thoughts type videos like this in terms of Fusion World, let me know down in the comments below. I'm curious to see what you guys would like to see in terms of like non-gameplay stuff. But I'm not going to talk too much about the regionals just due to the fact that I wasn't there. I didn't really partake, and they didn't really showcase anything from the regionals. Like, all I know about the regionals is what is here on Eggman Events' websites, which, by the way, shout out to Eggman for always compiling these types of lists and the statistics and stuff like this. Like, it's really cool that he does that, so shout out to Eggman. But I will say, at the very least, like, when it comes to the regionals from Friday and Sunday, I think it's really cool. Like, look at these, look at the spread here. Like, obviously, like, in regionals Friday, Halo Coup and Super Boo were kind of present the whole time, so like I mean that's relatively to be expected. I figured one of these would actually be like this, but I like how the Sunday regionals was a lot more like passive. It was a lot more varied in terms of what you came across. Like Halo Coup is still like the most played deck out of all of them, as you can see from here, but I mean, look at the variety. You got droids, you got Jiren, you got Vegito, you got Baby, Bardock, Cell was there, which is cool. Starter Daima is there, Zamasu's there. It's just really cool to see that people on Sunday were just kind of lax about it and just kind of going from there. But yeah, I'm not here to talk about regionals. Let's talk about World Finals. So World Finals, we had there was 7 Gokus, 7 or Halo Coups, 4 Majin Buu Evils, 2 Zamasus, 1 17, 1 Janemba, 1 Jiren. There's a lot more here than I expected it. I thought it was going to be a completely like one-sided like thing. I thought it was going to be a really one-sided thing, but it ended up being a bit more varied than I expected it to be. Zamasu was kind of a surprise here. I actually really enjoyed seeing Zamasu, and the one Zamasu match that we did kind of see in the World Finals I thought was actually pretty cool. Was really hoping Zamasu would kind of come out on top in some capacity, at least get to the top 4, but we didn't really see that. So anyway, so not really getting into the meta of it all. Let's start with the digital tournament. I don't think Eggman has the digital tournament here, the digital format. No, it doesn't look like he does, which is a little, you know, sad to see. It's a little sad to see. Top 16, large event, yeah, large official event. Yeah, these are all the regionals and stuff like this. Okay. So let's talk about the digital tournament first. The digital tournament was really, really cool. The digital tournament had a really unique structure to it that I was very happy with, very surprised with. And if you didn't watch any of the finals at all, like, you can go and check on our VODs page here on YouTube or on Twitch. We live streamed the whole thing, reacted to the whole thing. But the format was really cool because it was basically it was best of 3 for the digital tournament, but you were allowed to bring 2 decks. You were allowed to use 2 decks to play with. If you won with one of your decks, you couldn't use that deck for the remainder of the round, and you had to switch to your second deck and win with your second deck. I thought that was really cool. Jay Fanta, for example, played Janemba and Vegito. He played Vegito for the match that was broadcasted. lost the first round, but then won the second round, and then had to switch to Janemba in the third round. That type of format to me really does like come off as like, okay, so like, yeah, you could run the best decks in the format. You could run Super Boo, you could run Halo Coup. Your chance at winning wasn't reliant on those decks. You still had to rely on whatever your second deck was in order to, you know, capitalize on a win. So like it would help get you there, but it wouldn't guarantee you getting there, which I thought was really cool. I thought that was a really interesting format. And I hope that they stick with that like going forward, because that was the one thing that I hated about watching the IRL tournaments. As we kind of talked about with the World Finals, like this was the format. This is what we saw in these matches. So it was a little disappointing when we got to the IRL Finals and it was just one deck the entire way. I would have assumed that they would have adopted a similar like format from the digital client, at least going into the top 4 where it was best of 3, you know? So that was a little disappointing. The meta itself, like, I'll be 100% with you all. Seeing like the one Zamasu match in the top 8 had me really hyped and really excited, because it was nice to see something that wasn't Super Boo or Halo Coup. But the finals and the finals was just terrible, because it was a Halo Coup versus Halo Coup match. It was by far the longest and probably most boring format I think I've seen in this game in a while. When people are sitting there and saying like, oh, like we need a ban list, that is why. It's because Halo Coup is so ever present. It's because Super Boo is so ever present. Like there was just nothing fun about watching that grand finals at the end. Like the only time that I got excited about the finals was in like the last, like it was the final round, and it was within like the last 5 minutes when they were trying to determine like combo power and stuff like that. Like that was more or less like my thoughts with it. Like I was like, man, I want this to be over. And then the last 5 minutes I got excited. So like that was it. That shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be a like when you have like these mirror matches like this, like, and when the meta is as egregious as it is when it comes to the plays, like something we saw a lot during the finals was the peel off final hope slash like meta, or the one cost Videl final hope slash bounce peel off back meta, or Videl meta. Like it was the meta itself, like it was just boring to watch. It was just really boring to watch. And I hate to say that, because I love this game. I love like playing this game. It's just the meta is in a bad spot right now, because it's literally the same thing over and over and over again. It's people abusing the plays that are possible within it, and that's no fault of the players. Like when it comes, like remember, this is a world tournament. Like this is like you are trying to be the best player in the world in this tournament. So when people play Halo Coup, I understand why people are playing Halo Coup. It's like, I get it. And using the tools at your disposal and abusing them to the fashion that you're able to, like, that's within the rules. Like, you can do that. Like, it's not, there's no limitations from that, because a ban list is not in play for certain cards. So I get it. I understand why you do those plays. But seeing that, like, every time I saw that peel off Final Hope combo, I was just like, ugh. At the very least, nobody won a match off of the Final Hope slash combo. Like, I experienced that all the time on the client. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to go for game, but I'm going to do the peel off Final Hope combo to go for game. Like, that is terrible. It's terrible, man. It's a lot worse on the client. The plays that Halo Coup and Super Boo did in the tournament were not nearly as bad as they were like in the tournament. Were not nearly as bad as on the client. Like, I think that the players recognize that some of these plays are like bad for the game, and I think they didn't want to necessarily like over abuse that in order to make it like, I think the players were cognizant of it. But I'm kind of like rambling at this point. I'm not really like talking about like anything of substance. I'm just talking about like my experiences with it. But yeah, so all in all, like I'm not going to talk ban list stuff because I've done that to high heaven in the past. People don't like it when I talk about that stuff. So I'm just like, okay, well, everyone else is already talking about the ban list. Let me do something a little bit different here and kind of talk about the tournament itself. There's a couple other things that I didn't necessarily like about the broadcast for the tournaments. One, I think, the one thing that really irked me was the fact that we only ever saw one match from each round before going into an hour-long break. Or like a 30-minute to an hour-long break before going into the next round. So like we'd see top 16, we'd see the first match that they decided to highlight, and then that match wrapped up, and there were probably some other matches that were still going on in the background, and they didn't show those matches. So I was like, well, I kind of want to see how everybody else is faring, and I want to see how this Jiren played. Like that was the thing I was looking at. Like I wanted to see how this Jiren player performed, and see how their matchup was in the top 16, but we never saw that. So I feel like for these people that are taking the world stage to showcase what they got, I think it's a little, and I get that there's time constraints, but it's just, I feel like there's other people that are there that are fighting for a chance at the at a championship, and you're not even going to give them the respect to show them like what the end of their match is. Like, yeah, we're not seeing the whole match, but I would have liked to see how their matches would have ended. Like that would have been fine. That would have been cool to see. But then yeah, after they finished the first match of like the top 16, they would take a break. They would basically go to like a BRB screen, and the reasoning was that they were going to hit the floor, they were going to talk to people, get like spectator perspective, maybe talk to some of the people that played their matches and get like a behind the scenes kind of thing. Like they gave all these reasons as to like why, like them going on break, right? But then they would put, for people on the live stream, they would put them on an hour-long wait until the top 8 was ready to go. What? Like, it was so depressing to see like the numbers from the live stream fluctuate up and down because like people were walking away from their computers and going elsewhere and doing other things while they waited for the top 8 to go in. Like, I want to see these other matches in the top 16. I want to see like some of these behind the scenes like interviews or talks with spectators. I want to see like what's going on the show floor. Like, Bandai, you gotta give us more than what you gave us for the live stream presentation. Like, it is that was so boring and awful to kind of like talk about. Like, it's, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, it was just weird. It was just really weird how they formatted that and did that. Even for the digital tournament, I think they did the same thing for the digital tournament too. Like, they showcased one match in the digital tournament for each round, and then they went to break, and then they came back and it was the top 4, and then they played that round but didn't show the other round, and then they went to break, and then they went to the finals. It was like it's a tournament. Showcase it like it's a tournament, man. Like, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Like, I get that there's time constraints. I get that they got to keep like the schedule rolling and stuff like that. But I feel like rather than put everybody on break for an hour between every round, that you actually give people more of the tournament. You showcase them more of what's going on at the event. Like, you're making this big deal about it. Make it a big deal. Like, by putting everybody on an hour-long break until the next round goes, like, you're not really making it as big of a deal as it actually is. So I don't know. That's just me. And then the final thing that I want to talk about, and I won't talk about this too much just because I don't know the ins and outs of how it works. I don't know like what the training is like going into it, but some of the calls for some of the matches by the judges felt a little off. Like, there was one match, I can't really remember I'm not going to really remember the name, so I'm not going to pretend like I remember what like is going on. If you want to know what I'm talking about specifically, you can go and check out the past VODs and the live streams and stuff, and see those plays for yourself. But there was one play, I guess, I think it was in the top 8 of the IRL, where one of the players was getting ready to like go for game. And I guess they really played really fast. And it was kind of hard for the opponent to keep up. But like they swung and then the player that was taking the hit went and grabbed a life from their hand, but then the judge came in and said and called for time, and then they called for time, and then there was like some discussion that you couldn't really hear. You couldn't really hear like what was being discussed and what was being done. But then out of nowhere, the guy that took the life at the end, like he ended up going on to the top 4 because of ruling for time, I guess. I feel like some of the calls by the judges just didn't really make sense in the grand scheme of things. I think I've seen there was a lot of discussion about like how some of these players are cheating and stuff like that. I don't buy into the idea that any of the players that were there were cheating. I think that's just people causing drama for the sake of causing drama. But I will say that I feel like the judges were not at their best for this event. I think there was some stuff with like in the Masters tournament that was going on that like there was some weird like judge calls that were being made. I think that Bandai could do maybe a little bit better with how they handle their judges. Like it's fine if like you go to time, right? And like a game is called by time, but like for what that particular instance that I mentioned before, like you got to be on top of that as a judge. I feel like as a judge, you got to be on top of when it goes for time. Like if I were a judge and I realized the time went up, I'd be like, nope, done, stop the presses. We're done. Like no more plays, no more swings, nothing. Like I would be on top of that. That's my ADHD, that's my OCD, that's like that's all my things. Just clocking in like in that moment. Like I'd be on top of that shit. But I mean, I guess the judges may not have been on their game. And to be fair, like a lot of these matches went on for a long time, and they had to just sit there and watch them play the game for like an hour and a half to like watching their every single move. Like I can understand from their perspective too, like why they wouldn't necessarily be on top of their game or be as like immediate to call to action for these plays. But it just felt a little weird by the judges. Like some of the calls just didn't really make sense, and it felt a little off. And that's also just watching it from a live stream and not really getting the full context or perspective of like what's going on there or what the rules actually are for the grand scheme of things. Like we know that they have a certain amount of time to play, but like there was some ruling too where like if you're mid swing when time is called, like you still finish out that attack to do it. Like that's kind of stuff like us here on like watching the event from home may not necessarily know or get if we haven't been to if we've never been to like an event like that, right? Like that's not something that most people are going to be privy to. So I don't know. It's just, yeah, the event overall, I enjoyed my time watching the World Finals for the digital and the IRL, but there was just a lot of weirdness. It was a lot of weirdness. There was the wait times between rounds was way too long. Not being able to see all the finalists in all their matches for each of the rounds, at least seeing the end result of what their rounds looked like, I thought was really weird and maybe a little bit disrespectful to the people that, you know, came all that way just to play. Yeah, the meta itself was just really egregious. I, again, won't talk ban list stuff, but it did, like, I feel like something should happen sooner rather than later. We're probably not going to because it's been like 2 weeks after the event, but yeah, and then like just some weird ruling decisions made. The format changing from digital to IRL was weird. Like it was just a weird event. I'm hoping that going into the World Finals next year is going to be a little bit better. I hope that they fix a lot of these issues that I had with the event personally and kind of makes it a bit more of an enjoyable experience. But until then, that's neither here nor there. Let me know what you guys think. Did you guys end up watching the World Finals via live stream? Were you there at the event, seeing it all go down? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. I'm curious to see what you guys all think. And if you were at the event and you watched any of these games, like feel free to give your input on like some of the callings and stuff, because I would really, for a learning experience, I would like to understand like why some of the callings that were made, right? I don't want to point fingers or anything like that. Like I put this out there to give my criticisms and then to also potentially even learn a little bit better. So let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought. Like and subscribe for more Fusion World content. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.